Hi, Jeff back here at Wisconsin Woodworking. We are ready to take care of the top. I broke it out of the clamps. I squared up the board and I ran it through my double drum sander and I got it dead nuts flat, and now I have it cut to 23 by 51 and a half. And I double checked everything's, I X'd it out, everything's right on the money. Now I laid the desk on the bottom side of the top, so everything's upside down and flipped around because I got the top facing me. So the left side is on my right. I got the mounting brackets installed. You can kind of see them in there. And I went through and I center punched out the hole where the screw is going to go, and now I need to fasten this down so that I can pull everything tight to the top, double check all my squareness up, make sure everything is good. I'm going to screw these down real quick. Okay. I took my little small combination square and I went around here and I made sure I had an inch by an inch on the other side, went all the way around, and made sure I did all that before I anchored this down. I made sure that that top was square. We have this, and here's the top. You can see the grain selection on there now. Pretty good. That's good. We got a little bit of piece of plywood here. I'm gonna have to fix that, but that's good. I say it's good. And then I'm going to band the front of this yet. So, that's the desk so far. The top's on it. We still got to do a little profile on here yet. Alright, let's try it out on our piece. Now, a small hand block sander, touch that 45. Alright, that feels really good. Alright, I got the sanding all done, and I decided to put the first coat of the Minwax tongue oil finish on it. I had the can, 3/4 of the can, so I figured, you know what, I'm just going to use that. Otherwise, I was going to layer this out with sandable sealer and then sand it and build it back up with at least 6 coats of lacquer. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it up with that tongue oil shellac finish that's from Minwax. Right now I got the first coat on and it's pretty dry. I'm going to put the second coat on, and then what I'm going to do is take 320 sandpaper after I get it on, and I'm going to lightly sand over the top of the finish to kind of give it a slurry, and what that'll do then is it fills all the grain hole. Let's just get the second coat on. Like I said, we're going to do that sanding. Just dump it on here. And what I'm going to do is rub this right in. Hand rub that in, work it in, get it on all my edges, pull it down, get all this in. I'm going to work this in. Look, it's down in the grain, soaks in. Now I'm going to come back with the 320. Now this is something that I do. I don't know if many other guys do this, but this helps with sealing all the grain. You take a 320 block and work it. It'll actually make a smoother top. You just do this back and forth. Knocks down any of the fibers that stick up from putting the finish on. You notice the top is drying up. It's because I'm grinding this all into a slurry, which is going to go right into the wood. Same color, fill the grain. It's going to make the table look a lot better, or the desk. Now I'm going to come back, I'm going to wipe that with that rag I used, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to buff it off. You don't want to leave it on. The light sand on the sides. All right. Now I'm going to come back. I'm going to lightly wipe this. Work that in. I'm going to come back and I'm going to buff this off with a clean rag. Now it's going to pick up some of that wood that we sanded, but the grain is full. You don't see any open grain anymore. All the open grain is closed up. the wood will just keep sucking this in, and then eventually it's going to stop and you're going to start building up your layers. But let me bring you down so you can see the grain. Come down here and you look at that grain. The grain is actually all closed up. This was all open and now it's nice and smooth. Looks good. Got some nice striping in there. But it's already dry. So if you put it on the first coat, let it soak in, let that dry for about maybe 20 minutes. Come back with your second coat, sand it with 320. That lightly fills all the open grain, plugs it, gives it the same color because you're using the same wood. That'll fill the grain, wipe it again, and then wipe it off. Now from this point on, it'll build up and it'll be a nice flat, no open grain. It's closed. It'll just look really nice. Now the thing is, you just keep doing that. Do that 6-7 times. But you don't have to sand in between every one of them. Just wipe it on, let it soak in, and buff it off, and let it build up. Keep building it up, and eventually it's going to have a nice shine to it, a nice sheen, and you're done. Now we can take the top off, flip it over, and apply a couple coats to the bottom to seal the bottom, and it's done. Now I can put that on the side, and I can start spraying the actual desk with the primer and that, and I'm going to cover the top and that I just did. I'm going to lay out a ton of tarp covers. So that's where we're at. So the next time you see this, the top should be done. Okay, until I come back,